Yeah,
All
I
right.
made about 40% on hymns on the weeklies. I busted out the 80s I think last week, a while back ago. Thank God. All right, we should be,
You should be good. Does everyone see Lance's screen? You don't see mine with the chart or anything?
we should be good now.
Okay, we should be good.
Let
All
me get
right.
the YouTube up and we'll get rolling here. Oh, we're about 4 minutes early.
Oh, yeah, we are. Wow. Um, awesome. I'll post your YouTube link in a minute once everything auto-populates. Let me see. It looks like the guys really liked yesterday.
Well, good. Everyone should have made a lot of money and then bought me goodies today. You could always bribe me. I accept Hulk Hogan wrestling cards,
Pokemon cards.
Pokemon cards.
You see both screens. Here, let me snag host again really quick, and then I'll hide that screen. Um, yeah, you guys can bribe Lance with virtually anything. All right, you should only see his screen now.
Yeah, I accept bribes. At least I admit it. Unlike a politician, I will admit my bribes. They call me Lance Bob Menendez, Lance Reed. They almost canceled me yesterday. All right, let me go to my YouTube and see if I'm live.
Let's see. Todd's in there. Lauren's in there.
Can you believe Joy Reid got canceled?
Let me
Oh
toss
my
that.
God.
You're the
All right.
best. Do not cancel. We couldn't cancel him if we wanted to. I swear to God.
I'm too big to fail. I'm the bank. All right. Oh, let's get this YouTube out the way. All right, let's look at the markets here. Oh, we got 2 more minutes, so I gotta wait. So welcome everyone.
Do you want to tell them that you just got like three Hulk Hogan trading cards?
I got a lot more, actually.
Oh,
Let me
did you
see.
just bet on like everyone you saw? Oh God.
We got Hogan. We got Hogan.
I like your influencer days.
We got
It's a
Hogan.
good fit for you. Oh, I think is Thomas. Are you new? He's a giant wrestling fan. He usually dresses up as a wrestler. We
And then
just
I've been
haven't.
donating to the police.
Mm, look at you, very wrestler-like.
Yeah, I've been donating to the police. And then I got my Pokemon vintage card, vintage pack. I've not opened $500. $500 for a Pokemon pack. But yes. All right. Is it 9 a.m.? Can we get going here?
You're like 30 seconds away, so I say why not?
All right, there's the chat. Look at the YouTube chat. All
Also,
right,
guys,
well, I didn't get canceled. MSNBC Nathan called me.
oh my God.
Nathan Meadows. It kind of looks like Rachel Maddows, doesn't he? All he needs is those big glasses. And he said, Lance, we're going to cancel you.
Oh, I'm sure Publisher Nate did.
He said, we're going to cancel you. Can't, your ratings are in the tank. And we pay you too much money to be in the tank. And then they said, you're going to have to go on CNN. No, I'm kidding. All right, so let's do a quick rundown on the morning mashup. What should we be looking at? Um, and how we can make some money today. All right, so futures are basically flat, blah, blah, blah. Nothing to do there. Again, whatever you do, if you're trading the E-mini S&P futures, that's fine to day trade, but very, very hard to do anything else. So we do have a couple names reporting that will influence the market, mostly Home Depot. That's Home Depot this morning. And then insider purchases, not much. We haven't been seeing too much insider buying except TKO. That's really the only one. And that's World Wrestling Entertainment, the wrestling and UFC. Besides that, Walmart with an upgrade today. Block or Square, the payment company, with an upgrade today. And then Nancy Pelosi's Timu or Team, Team. Basically, it's an AI growth stock. We traded it for Shadow Trader before. That one's down on earnings. There we go. We have some big names this week. Snowflake, Nvidia later in the week, which will influence the Nasdaq and the market really, and all the chips. Hims and Hers is down about 15, 17%. Had a good day trade in that one yesterday for about 40%. And then eBay, which I'm bullish on. Salesforce as well. And let's go ahead and take a look at that Salesforce because you have earnings this week on Salesforce. We have some momentum movers. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the Salesforce because this one did stick out yesterday. But I do want to be clear. I wouldn't get too caught up in it because it's a very big stock. And usually those big stocks are very hard to trade on earnings. You know what I'm saying? It's like kind of trying to predict what Apple is going to do on earnings. It's it is kind of a large market cap, trades a bunch of options and everything. But we did see yesterday on the news flow scanner a pretty big dollar amount, right? The $1 million, excuse me, in the weekly, February 28th, 320 calls. That's a big bet. $1 million is no chump change, but I am going to be a little bit cautious because, again, it is a large cap, does trade a bunch of stock and options throughout the day. But let's go ahead and look at the Salesforce. So far, it's probably the top interest that I have so far in earnings this week. Maybe we'll look at HPQ and some other names as well. Home Depot's hunched on earnings. By the way, Zoom's down a little bit. Hims is down, about what, $12 or not 12, about $12 or so on earnings. So within the implied move. But let's go ahead and look at the Salesforce because you might be saying, why Salesforce? Right? This chart is horrible, right? So they did buy yesterday the 320 call. So even though it's $1 million above the ask, which I like, I do not love how these calls are so far out the money, right? So the stock's at 308, they bought the 320 calls. That is far out the money, but we look at the flip side because we want to look at each scenario. Last quarter, the stock did a gap up after a slight pullback. This quarter, really no move. We'll call it an X. Gap down. This quarter, a slight gap up. So you have mixed earnings. Gap down, no move. Gap up. So really, we just really have to ask ourselves, are the options priced to make money? So let's go ahead and look at that, shall we? Let's go see if the options are priced enough to make money. And let's go ahead and pull up the earnings indicator. It's completely free if you want it. Just, I don't know what. Just call and you can get it.
Oh, if you put it in the chat, I can add it to your portal. I just had them make a portal just for these classes. So all your buyers have it.
Oh, do I need to do anything?
Just send it to me in a chat or Slack and I'll add it in.
Uh, okay, you know what I'm going to do? If you want it, I'm just going to give it to you. So come get some free stuff. How do I copy it?
Also, just a note from our team, the portal may or may not be up as of right now for you guys. We might just still be testing it. So wait until like end of day or tomorrow morning. I'll put it on his Telegram, but just know it's going to be there.
I just shared it too.
Okay, cool. I will add it in there and they'll see it when it's up. But like I said, I'll post on Telegram that it's up there.
Yeah. Come and get freebies. Everything's free. I'm running for president. And you get free Doge checks too. I'm kidding. You don't get those. Maybe. Maybe you'll get them. So I'm going to give you the earnings indicator as well. So if you want to copy and paste it, you can. It's the easiest way, right? You copy and paste the code. Share. Anyone with link? I guess I'll make you an editor.
No, because if they edit, they can copy and paste. So what you do, go to File, and then hit Share. Yep, that's Share. And then note Publish to Web, and then take that link. So hit Publish, and then take whatever link shows up there.
Oh, look at that. There you go. Let me know if that works. Can I post it in the YouTube chat?
Oh, I am.
Oh,
I
shit.
mean, you can too, but I'm what's gonna.
There you go. All right. Well, free. Free, free, free. I am Obamacare. Free healthcare, free trading.
The free phone too.
And you'll get a, okay, I forgot about the phone. And you'll get a free phone soon. By the way, I'm just an
Stonkamania
entertainment
card.
character. Do not take me as real financial advice. I'm just a gimmick and a play. I'm like a wrestling character. I play a person on TV. All right.
You play Stonkamania on TV.
Exactly. All right. There we go. So if you're late, we did see $1 million bet in Salesforce. Again, I wouldn't go all in. And you may be saying, Lance, it's $1 million. What are you talking about? Like, that's a lot of money. A stock like Salesforce that trades, so many options a day, $1 million isn't that much. So just please make note of that. And we did see back on January 27th, the trader laid out $1 million on the SEP 400 calls. And let's see how they did. So Jan 27th. So they bought calls here, the September 400s, and the stock, to be fair, went up on earnings. All right, well, all right. So they were right before. Okay, I'll give them credit. All right, so they were right before. So the market makers are implying 333 for a bullish upside move or 283 for a downside move. 283 takes us back into support where we've had prior value. So basically, if you trade earnings, you trade the weekly calls, it's a binary bet. The options are either going to zero, you lose all your money, or you have hopefully a greater than expected market makers move and you make at least a double, if not more. So therefore, 333 is a bullish upside target. We won't look at the downside because we're biased. And I think we could probably trade up in here. So this is where we have prior value. If you're wondering how I calculate value for prior levels, a couple ways to do it. One, you can always look at volume bars or in Think or Swim. I think they're called monkey bars, expanded. Just make sure they are. Yeah, it's kind of limited with the indicator. I actually don't like that. I don't really like this here. I'm going to switch out of that. Let's see if we could do volume point of control. Oh, they don't have point of control on here. All right, well, I guess Toss doesn't have it. But I think of it this way. Wherever you have the most price action, what happens is volume builds at these levels. Volume, where you have prior buyers and sellers before, so think of it as support, resistance, price will usually go back to where there's pockets. It doesn't like hanging out in thin air. So like here, we broke out a value. We're in air, thin air. There's no price action, so what does it do? It reverts. Here, we're had that drastic drop, because we've had no support or no prior price action. So the stock will usually pull back to where there's prior price action, right? See how there's so much price action down here? Or it will go to where, if it's bullish, higher price action, which would be up in here. So let's see how much these weekly 320 calls are in our little Salesforce. Little Salesforce, and not really little. It's kind of big. Well, let's see how much they are. If they're under, hopefully $2, it might be a good trade. Uh, they're $9. Wow. All right. Well, that's expensive. So they're about $9 for the 320 calls. The market makers were expecting the stock to go to what? Right around 330 or so. So those calls, even if the stock went to 330, would only be up about, let's just say $9 to $10. That's about 10%. So that's a what we call horrible ROI. Not friendly at all. Um, at all. So you can see even the 350 calls are pretty juiced. So there's a couple ways if you want to play it, you can. I would personally probably look for something, maybe the 330, 335, or 340 bull call spread. So you're risking about 220 to make $10. It's not bad. Or if you want to be more conservative, you do like the 280. That's bad. Yeah, these are horrible priced options. It is pre-market. Or you can maybe do like the 290, 285 bull put credit spread. You're risking $5 to make about $1.50 if you get lucky. So just some trade ideas in Salesforce. I wouldn't get too caught up in it though. When do they report? 226. So you have till tomorrow after the close. If you see more bull flow in Salesforce, maybe take notice. The stock did gap up 10% last quarter. So a 10% move would be about 338, 340. In that case, they're still expensive. So I would either do a call spread or a wrap order or sell maybe a bull put credit spread to finance a long call. The one thing I do not like about Salesforce is there is no in the money calls in open interest. Usually you want to see in the money calls and open interest, meaning the traders bought calls and they're still holding calls into the earnings event. So that's a little bit of a red flag. You do have a little puts that are in the money. Those could be directional or usually out the money puts are hedges. So I would give Salesforce, we'll be generous and give it 730. 70% upside, 30% downside. I would just do something where you're risking $1 to make $3, or something like that from a risk versus reward. So you want to at least double, if not triple, your money to trade it if you put on a trade, which I would consider a bull call spread. Nothing really besides that though. Makes sense. Oh, is it volume profile? Thank you, Jeremy. What is it? There we go. Voila, found it. Thank you. This is what I wanted. I wanted it to expand though on the left side, but Jeremy in the chat mentioned this. So basically, if you want to see where prior volume is traded, you could get it's a free study, volume profile. Mostly people use this for day trading, a lot of day trading the futures, but basically will show you where prior price action is. So you see like here where we were talking about earlier, you see how we have all this volume built up here for support, and then our upside resistance, which is right around that 330 area. You see how we have all this volume here. When you don't have volume, like here at these highs, prices quickly retreated because there's not prior days of volume. Volume hasn't built up. And if you scale out, right, like here where there's support, right, where prices traded before. Price will usually, and you might hear the name gaps, like if a stock gaps up quickly, it will do that because it's looking for price discovery. And then once it usually gaps, it will retreat or consolidate back into prior volume. And you can do it, especially if you like trading the E-mini S&P futures, like I do. Use it on a 30-minute. It's usually more friendly. You can see where we've been trading recently, right? And if you look at like single prints, price will usually retreat to where it starts building volume. So if you're looking to day trade the E-mini S&P today and you're looking for some levels, where should be your resistance? Right around 60.30 in the E-mini S&P. If we take out prior low, we're probably going to flush lower because we don't have any volume there. So you want buyers to come in, buyers to come in at support, sellers on resistance, and then have it start trading sideways during these volume areas. And you can see how quickly we were here and we built volume. And then once we took out these lows, we kind of just flushed. That was on a Friday on the COVID fears, the new strain of COVID and such like that. But, volume profile is free study. Thank you. All right, let's get back to action. Anyone have any questions so far on that? Trying to move fast and cover a lot of intel before the market opens here. Volume profile. So you just type in on your toss volume profile. A lot of futures traders use it. So if you're doing these E-mini S&P or NASDAQ futures, it's usually pretty good like that. Pretty big on the future side of trading. All right, let's keep going here. And you can do that. Look, for example, NVIDIA, right? What do we have upcoming this week? And I will say, we haven't seen much chip flow, have we? And the chips? We really haven't seen much on those names, have we? You really haven't seen too many of the chips lately come across. You had WDC yesterday with a massive sell-off, which this is kind of scary because you usually don't have such big companies going down 25% in a day or 30% in a day, whatever it closed at. So this is kind of scary. And if we look at the NASDAQ futures today, let's pull it up on the master indicator. Master indicator is available if you need it. We pretty much have just had chop. Overnight session, a little lower, chop right now. But if we look here, the NASDAQ futures, or the QQQ, if you like doing the ETF, we're starting to flirt with negative on the year. I think we're only up about 1.8% year to date now. So we do have some prior support. This is the red line right here I drew. But if we look at NVIDIA earnings, we never really had volume on that gap fill. Remember the other week I said avoid NVIDIA, even though Avgo and other chips filled the gap from the DeepSeek AI out of China. NVIDIA never really got any momentum. It had an H cell pattern, broke it, see the sell signal, filled it up, but look at volume. There's none. No volume on this rally. Market rally, NVIDIA just obviously big market correlation, filled the gap very weakly, and then we rejected it. I mean, if you really want to look at it, one big H cell pattern. So like a lowercase h. So we do have earnings approaching. I personally am not going to trade it. I might trade an AMD, an Intel, a SMH. And the reason why, just looking at it blind, support would be let's just say 115, round easy math. We have some prior support there. Upside move would probably be up in here. Let's just say 145, easy math. I haven't even looked at the market maker's implied move yet. But if we get real freaky, and this would cause the NASDAQ especially to do a full market crash, I would not be shocked if we start printing 105. That would be doomsday for the market. And let's just see what the market makers are implying for NVIDIA. Just curious. I didn't want to spend time on NVIDIA, but I know everyone's going to ask about it. So the market makers are only implying a downside move of 119, upside move basically right to the gap fill, 140, 141. So that would be, in my opinion, if we print 141, that would be a relief rally or a dead cat bounce on earnings, which could happen. The CEO is very good. Uh, I don't think he wants his stock to crash. He's been doing media rounds lately. So if we do break 115 and go to 105, the market maker is only expecting 119. After that, they're not protected. When you have a market maker's move, that's where they think the stock can go on a bad report. So they're pricing in the stock could go as low as 119. If you get a 115 print, you could really start making some money to the downside, of course, if we get there. So let's just see how much the 120 puts are. They should be around about $3. Yeah, about 260. So it goes to 115, you double your money. The 115 puts are a buck 50. I mean, if you want a doomsday or a hedge, I would probably look at the 120 puts or even like the 120, 110 bear put spread on the video. Again, this is kind of doomsday bets, but you actually have only about a 10% move um, implied for earnings. So not a lot of move. Or it could be a nothing burger and you get uh, literally no move on NVIDIA earnings. And you could do something like an iron condor or a fly. But I personally would never do stuff like that. It could be just a nothing burger too. I don't know. We haven't seen too much flow in NVIDIA. And quite frankly, I think it's very hard um, to do those big cap stocks. Usually for earnings, you want to do kind of the crazy stocks, which brings me to the rocket. I do like this one a lot. If you're in wiretap, you're in this one. This stock, I'm really liking this one. I added to this yesterday. Um, Jeremy told me about that. Is I do like this Rocket Mortgage. We did see some decent bets here the past few days. Um, the April 13 calls. Obviously, April's a little too far for me, so obviously I did the weeklies. And we did see a March call buyer back in the day for 500,000. This is January 28th in RKT. Let's go ahead and take a look when they bought those. They bought those here. And the stock is up slightly. So I do like that trade. RKT, it's Rocket. Let's see what the short interest is, though. I just like going to FinViz. I'm going to get some ads, though. But let's see what the short interest is here on the Rocket. 15%. It's not bad. So the stock can squeeze up on good earnings. Obviously, bearish chart. You either get an H sell, you print 10, or you get a squeeze, hopefully back to 16. Let's see how far 16 is. 14 would be $1. Yeah, I mean, good earnings. It exceeds the market maker's move. You get a 15 print. A 15 print makes those calls go from 75 to $2. It's pretty good ROI. All right. Implying about a 8% move on earnings. That's a pretty good risk versus reward on Rocket companies or Rocket Mortgage. Not bad. Kind of like it. Kind of like it more than much. Walgreens was good. Anyone get in Walgreens yesterday? The Walgreens calls I got in at 32. The large trader bought them at 25 and they went up to 72. I started selling them and scaling out. I think my last sale was 57. So about 100% or so, in or 80% in Walgreens, and what, a couple of, maybe what, 20, 30 minutes that we were only in. Those Walgreens calls were hitting like water. It was the weekly 10.5s, and then on the penny option scanner, they hit like 4 times. Um, I did those in the option pit, which is our private Telegram channel. Um, for those wondering, just because it's quicker. Couldn't send out a trade alert in time, so in the option pit did it. And you see how volume was greater than open interest. Open interest was 0. So that trader is basically making the market. So that's what you'd love to see. But yeah, they hit. Look at this. Yesterday they hit 3 times yesterday, and on the news flow scanner. So that was good. Made some quick dough, even on my little Robinhood account, which is pretty funny because I usually don't trade it. All right, I think that is it. Everyone, did you enjoy it? Questions? Make sure you like. Uh, Make sure you like if you're on YouTube, and subscribe if you're on Zoom. You don't have to do anything because Zoom is in-house. Oh, there's the questions right there. You did $20 on a one lot. Look at you, Greg. Nice. WBA. Oh man, a lot of y'all did it. Good Lord. Can't keep track. You sold it at 60. You are a better man than I am. Walgreens, great job. And at 34 and 40, out at 47. How do I get? Well, yes, I'm very Italian. Walgreens sold at 50. Very nice. Very nice. I think I sold some too early, but oh, and one short to look at, and it just sold off here about 50 cents. You had a couple put buyers in DraftKings yesterday. Um, you had a few dip. I had puts in DraftKings. I closed them for like 12%, but you had some more put buyers come in on DraftKings. The DraftKings on the I don't know where my one click went, but you had some DraftKings put buyers come in um, late day as well yesterday. So keep an eye on that one. Maybe you have some news with the gambling. You had the 45 puts for next week, and you had some weekly 44.5 puts. So you had, look at all this bearish bets in DraftKings. It's about 5 orders bearish all in DraftKings, all short dated. So you might have some kind of maybe gambling legislation, something like that, in the sports betting company. So just keep a little lookout there. All right, thanks everyone, and I'm out.